Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well. Today is September 9th, and today is Monday. Hopefully, all you guys had a wonderful day of work, or, hopefully, all you guys are having a wonderful morning whenever you may be watching this, because I know that kind of varies depending on where you are in the world. But outside of that, hopefully all you guys are doing well. If you're new here, please subscribe as we are on our way to 500 subscribers, and all the support would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, let's get into the news from today. Moving on to the Trump administration segment, as we do, the first topic we have today is the Treasury Secretary has threatened to fight another Trump cabinet member. At a private dinner attended by the Trump administration officials and advisors, there was a clash between two of Trump's top economic officials, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Housing Finance official Bill Pulte, however you say that. This was supposed to be a celebration, but turned ugly as Scott Bessent threatened to punch Pulte in the fucking face, as a quote by Bessent himself. Throughout the dinner, Bessent lashed out at Pulte as he heard Pulte was bad-mouthing him to Trump. Bessent threatened to beat his ass on multiple occasions throughout the dinner, but from what it sounds like, nothing happened as they were both taken back to their seats. This is not shocking, as most of the men in this administration, and MAGA for that matter, are angry assholes. I've seen it firsthand on multiple occasions, and you guys probably either have or have seen videos on the internet. Honestly, we really should look into, the men's mental health and the mental health of these men specifically, because, there's a lot of white men who are doing these school shootings, and there's also a lot of white men who are very aggressive and violent. It's not all of them. I'm not going to put all of them under that one spectrum, but it's. I don't think spectrum was the right word there. We'll go with umbrella. Not going to put all of them under the right or under the same umbrella, but it is a alarming amount, and I really think we should look into that, especially with all of the school shooting stuff that the right especially is talking about these days. In other news, an appellate court has rejected Trump's appeal for $83 million in the defamation of E. Jean Carroll's case. A federal appeals court has rejected Trump's request to appeal against E. Jean Carroll's defamation verdict against Trump. The ruling said that we conclude Trump has failed to identify any ground that would warrant reconsidering our prior holding on the presidential immunity. We conclude that this district court did not err in any challenged ruling, that the jury's damages awards are fair and reasonable. This is great. Trump gets off way too frequently with things he fucks up for or does terribly fucked up, and he's not going to hear, which is a great thing, especially if there's video proof that he assaulted this woman. I mean, he should be locked up for that, really, but unfortunately, that is not the case because he's the president of the United States. But, let's be real. Trump is a criminal. He is an evil person. And let's not forget, he is 100% in the Epstein files. In other news, speaking of, a similar topic in a way, Trump is downplaying domestic abuse as well. During an event at Washington, D.C.'s Museum of the Bible, Trump has suggested domestic violence shouldn't be considered a crime. Trump was speaking on the deployment of the National Guard, where he said crime was down 87%, but he believed it was at 100%. He then said much lesser things take place in the home that they call crime. They'll do anything that they can do to find something. If a man has a fight with the wife, they say, this is a crime. See? So now I can't play 100%. He was then referring to, the overall crime in DC. He needs to wrap it up. That is a genuinely insane thing to say. Domestic abuse is already a huge problem in the United States. As unfortunate as that is, it is the truth and absolutely should be a crime. So many men and women get trapped in god-awful, abusive relationships that not only have impacts on their mental health, but their life as a whole. And those abusers should be sent to jail for hurting another person, for one, but they shouldn't be able to actively harm that person without repercussions. Nobody deserves to be abused. I feel like that should go without saying, but unfortunately, that's where we are in the United States today. And in other news, moving on to a topic about the files, we have one topic as the Epstein birthday letter written by Trump has been released, but Trump says it wasn't his signature. I know, not a shocker. House Democrats have released a screenshot of the letter sent by Trump to Epstein on his birthday in 2003 for his 50th birthday. The letter had a silhouette of a woman, including her breasts. The House Oversight Committee wrote in a post, "Here it is. We got Trump's birthday note to Jeffrey Epstein. The president said that this doesn't exist." White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said this proves that the entire birthday card story is false, saying it was very clear that Trump did not draw or sign this picture. She also said that Trump's legal team will act on this. This letter, without a doubt, is real. There's no way in hell a House Oversight Committee would make this up when the main goal is to release the facts of the situation. And let's not forget, both Democrats and Republicans are on this committee, just as all House Oversight Committees. Trump is in the files, and he needs to be prosecuted for them because it is very clear that he has done some very horrible things that I cannot say on any platforms. Anyways, moving on to our other news segments, the first topic we have is Mike Johnson has admitted that Trump is not an FBI informant. House Speaker Mike Johnson has come out to clarify his statements that Trump was an FBI informant last week. Johnson claimed that Trump was an informant to help take down Epstein, and a claim that made literally no sense at all. This week, he defended it by saying that he was reiterating what a victim's attorney had said over a decade ago, claiming that Trump was the only one willing to help expose Epstein. I call bullshit, one, because Trump is on the files, obviously, but also Johnson is just lying out of his ass here. You can't say that Trump was an Epstein informant, for one. Once he says this, and he has already, MAGA is going to roll with it forever. They are going to preach that till the end of the time. That is going to be their defense against Trump being in the Epstein files. I mean, let's be real with that one there. But you'd also be leaking confidential information if this was the truth. A politician is not allowed to, leak information on FBI informants. That is a federal crime, and even if it is in any way true, in any way possible at all, when I highly doubt that. And always. But if it is in any way true, Mike Johnson is breaking the law and committing a federal crime by saying this. So that's why it is 100% not true. In other news, though, the Supreme Court is allowing roving patrols to continue in Los Angeles and not providing an explanation on it. The Supreme Court has lifted restrictions barring the Trump administration from carrying out immigration-related raids in the LA area, and they have also allowed them to resume carrying out raids in Spanish-speaking or gathering locations where day laborers congregate. The Supreme Court has offered no explanation on this ruling, but to grant the Trump administration a complete and total appeal. And no reasoning is wild, but, what do you expect when Trump has the Supreme Court essentially in the palm of his hand? The Supreme Court is arguably one of, if not the most corrupt parts of the U.S. government right now. Trump essentially controls the entire thing except for one or two justices, which needs to be changed. The way that we put Supreme Court justices into power as a whole needs to be changed. They shouldn't just be elected by the president. As we've seen, that's a huge problem when it comes to political corruptness, but also, there has to be better ways of going around that also gives the people more of a say. I think that's what we should work on and work towards. In other news, moving on to the final topic of tonight, the French government has collapsed in a no-confidence vote. French lawmakers have voted to oust the Prime Minister Francis Bayrou, plunging the country into political crisis and leaving it without a government. A total of 364 MPs voted against Bayrou, and 194 voted for him after he called a vote to push an unpopular savings plan that was also included scrapping 2 public holidays and freezing government spending. Bray will now step down after only 9 months in office. Emmanuel Macron is expected to name a new prime minister within the coming days for the country. This is huge news and comes out at a huge time of political uncertainty throughout the world, which could be a huge problem, whether that be in the United States, whether that be, in Germany, whether that be, I think Italy is also going through issues as well. And so is the UK. All of the countries, around the world are going through times of political uncertainty. And this isn't something that we need, to say the least. Bayrou's predecessor was also removed in a vote of no confidence, which makes it interesting that this happens twice. But Unfortunately, I don't really have time to follow French news, so I can't really give you a full, analysis on this as much as I, used to be able to. College has really taken a lot of time away from me, unfortunately. But he was pretty unpopular from what I do know. I do know a little bit about his time in office, and I have talked to a few French people who have also said that they were not a fan of him. So I do know that he was pretty unpopular for the most part. So this isn't really shocking, to say the least. But it happened, so it's interesting. With that being said, though, hopefully you all enjoyed today's episode. It has definitely been an interesting one, that's for sure. If you're new here, though, please subscribe. As mentioned, we're on our way to 500 subscribers, and I would really appreciate all the support. That would be so dope. Outside of that, though, if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing. All funds go to me. They will help me pay for the things that I need to pay for in college, like food, like clothing, like all those things. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. It means the world to me. Thank you all so much for watching today's episode, and I will see you all in the next